Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Clip Point. This is a new season for us. I think we took some time off and kind of concentrate on the Instagram game. What a crazy year last year was.
Oh, no doubt.
Right? Some other projects with Josh. Just, you know, he is the technology, right? I'm the beauty. He's the technology.
Yeah, that's it.
But we're back, and we're excited what we have in store for you today. And I have a little black and green theme, and hopefully it'll all make sense in a moment. But I probably shouldn't establish a, I guess, a standard of what I'm dressing being similar to what we're showing. But I figure we're coming back. I want it to be all theme, and you know, I have my Mike Tyson, Kiss Me, I'm Iris.
Mine's not themed at all.
Mike, if you see this, don't be upset. I love it, love you, blah, blah. All right, well, without further ado, I think people want to get right to what we have to show.
Yeah, absolutely. This blade just came out. This is Greg's knife. It is a Heretic knife. Actually, it's pretty special. I think you guys will be really excited. We got a lot of cool knives to bring you guys, and no better way to kick it off than with this knife. We're doing something new now. You'll see it as we move along. We are doing a grading scale, a clip point grading scale. Me and Greg have similar but also different tastes. We're going to grade these knives based on 4 different things and give you an overall score, a clip point score, and that way you can kind of tell if this knife is right for you or not.
Kind of like a Doug DeMuro score.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but sure.
Right. Well, hopefully you do. If not, check him out. So, you know, this is probably the hottest knife right now for at least the tactical and OTF community, and I'm excited to get it. Really like the Heretic Knives box. It's Velcro. The knife comes nice and secure. And I got this one from Southern Edges, and you may not be able to zoom into the right way, but you can look them up online.
Yeah, we'll put the information in the description below.
It's difficult to get these knives, right? This is definitely on the Grail scale of knives. And at the Clip Point, what we want to do is bring you a good variety. We want the Grail, the hard. Yeah.
Be careful. It's a sharp edge.
Oh, yes. Be careful. It's a sharp edge. So, thanks for that, Josh. Yeah, and we'll cut out the blood when we cut ourselves from the video, so don't have to worry about that. The nice thing about getting one of these knives is sort of the intrinsic value. You're not always going to be able to get a Heretic, and this one is the Bowie, the clip point style. Yeah,
it's nasty.
It is nasty, and you know, the theme of the channel being the clip point. It happens to be my favorite blade shape. I really enjoy that, and it's snappy action. Of course, the natural G10 with the jade, whatever you want to call it,
it's popular right now. It's on a lot of knives that I've been seeing.
Really is. They nailed it with this. The function is great. I think when you get one of these, if you're fortunate enough to be able to find one, and certainly fortunate enough to be able to afford one, or even if you just handle one, one thing that's really interesting is it actually has a natural G10 firing mechanism. So the trigger itself is G10. And kind of what's interesting about that when you use it, Josh, and you might be able to feel it, is it's not as quite as smooth.
Yeah, it's sweet.
It's not quite as smooth because it's not metal on metal. So you're gonna actually feel the sort of G10, right, which actually has a bit of texture to it, rubbing up against the frame. So that is one thing you'll notice, but that's not a quality issue, but it's something that I think if you ever handle one, I would hate for somebody to have the wrong impression of the knife.
So this is the Manticore X, which is the largest OTF currently at time of filming that Heretic makes. It's pretty sizable, almost the size of my hand. It's made in the US. What steel is this? Elmax, nice. One thing that I really love about this knife, and it's a small thing, but it makes all the difference in the world, we'll talk about it later when we're grading it, is this pocket clip. Like, the ingenuity of this pocket clip, adding like a ball bearing right here, makes it so smooth to pull in and out. Is that a glass breaker on the end there?
There you go.
Nice, okay. And it actually has a lanyard hole, which has been an issue for me with some other OTFs. I like having a lanyard, and when you have another OTF, there's a few out there that don't have a lanyard hole.
Well, yeah, and it's a great point. I'll tell you, like this is an Ultratech with a lanyard, and I've got a little Microtech bead on the end. Here's what's interesting about a lanyard is when you start thinking tactically, you start thinking about drawing the knife, even for EDC use, just the convenience of having your pinky grab something. You're not going to get whole hand on a knife. When you go into your pocket, you kind of stop here. And that leaves pinky grab for the lanyard. And believe it or not, when you start rocking a lanyard, you can't go without it.
That's true.
It gives you such security that you're not going to drop your knife. And I'll tell you that ever since I started using lanyards, I haven't dropped one. So big kudos to having that. One other thing that's nice about this is definitely a non-lethal opportunity here, kind of the skull crusher idea. It's bigger than your hand. I have large hands, so does Josh. And this fills up the hand completely. So you could definitely have, you know, that pressure point manipulation, a co-baton, you know, where you can have a strike that's non-lethal for self-defense. So that's a big benefit of having
it gives you a little bit more confidence.
A large tactical knife. And it being full hand, you don't have to worry about slipping as much, right? Because like maybe UTX 70 or 85 is going to be a partial hand. So yeah, I mean, overall, I was really excited to get the knife, and I jumped onto the jade, you know, or the natural G10 train. I got to be frank with you. For me, at first, I was like, I really don't like it when it first came out.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was.
I was like, but you know what? I got sucked in, and the trend took over.
It really did. You know where it hit it for me?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about these knives later on. This is kind of in our, we'll say our hiatus that we took. It was when the Luna came out, and somebody that we both know had gotten one. I'm a big US made knife guy. You won't find very many knives that are made out of country in my collection. Real Steel makes a knife called the Luna, which we'll talk about on another video. It's a slip joint. It's an awesome little knife, but it's made in China, right? And they made a Jade G10 version, and that was the one I got. And I loved it so much that I bought another Luna that had black hardware and swapped it. So it really actually matches this perfect. And that's where the love for the Jade G10 came for me.
You know what I think? This reminds me of growing up as a kid. Remember when glow in the dark, especially for 80s and 90s kids, glow in the dark was hot.
And when aliens were real big, like the
whatever this is the
Yeah.
color, right? And it kind of reminds me of glow in the dark. And another thing that's interesting for those of you who are big on Instagram, and you'll see pictures of this on our Instagram at the Blip Point, easy to find us, is you can play with the lighting, and this can almost glow if you get the light.
I want to see that under a black light.
Yeah, well, that would be neat. I wonder if it would show up. So maybe we'll try that. But anyway, so really, really great design. It's definitely a grail knife, so we understand it's not going to be out there for everyone, but everyone can enjoy it, at least vicariously through video and Instagram. And if you ever get a chance to handle one, it is certainly satisfying. It fires with authority, and it fires hard, and it retracts hard. No doubt.
They did it right. Now, for people that don't know, what makes this knife a $500 knife?
It's limited production, I think, is the big piece of it. You can get, you know, let's do a comparison to, you know, a sub $300 knife from, you know, Microtech, right? So one of the things that's interesting about this brand, Heretic, is Microtech is daddy and Heretic is son. So they're actually related, and that's why you'll kind of get a similar feel. So if you look at the Combat Troodon in the Bowie, it's similar to this, but this has a much sleeker feel to it, and because they're related, right? It's family.
I feel like it has a little bit more of a cool factor.
Well, I think so too.
Like it really fits the brand of Heretic. Like it just has more of a aggressive cool factor.
Well, and you know, the thing about Heretic Knives is, you know, it's, you know, be a heretic and carry and use an expensive knife. So the idea is limited production, hard to get, and that's that special factor. You know, you get a special car or a low production vehicle. Anything that's low production is going to bring a higher value to it. But I'll tell you this, it will come, it will raise value after time.
Yeah, it's an investment.
There is no doubt about it. You will be able to sell this later for more than you paid for, assuming it's in good condition.
Definitely not a knife I would take out on the lake with you, though.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a knife. You know, I use my knives. I use all of them. I mean, you can look at, you know, how beat up this is. This is actually the second blade. I was doing some interesting things with the first one, and I broke it and right in half. And actually, Tony Marfione himself was looking at the blade, and the nice lady called me and said, Tony's looking at it, but you got a couple options here. And quite frankly, it's not about this knife, but it was only $100, and I got a new blade put in. And,
yeah, worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it, of course. And yeah, so I actually use my knives. I will be carrying and using this knife, so it will begin to show signs of wear. And actually, I think that there's a whole segment of guys that like that aspect of the knife. So, but that's it. That's the Heretic Manticore X, made in USA, with the clip point Bowie style blade. So if you get a chance to pick it up, in Elmax, I highly recommend this knife.
Brand new. So ergos, what would you give the Heretic Manticore X as far as ergonomics?
Yeah, well, and that's an interesting conversation, because with ergos, if we're going to go on a 10-point scale, you're probably, as far as an OTF is concerned, and you might be able to make up some of the profile, rather than it being kind of a stick like the Ultratech, it actually does have some groove and some swells for your hand to fit naturally in place. So the ergos for an OTF are very good. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10 for ergos, just because my hand isn't really slipping around. I have a lot of confidence in it.
Yeah, me holding this knife, I'm gonna say, considering that, there's a lot of knives out there you could carry every day, that's kind of the whole idea, right? Behind carrying knives is an everyday carry kind of knife.
If you pull this out of the OTF category, the ergo will drop
for sure
tremendously.
But if I'm carrying this knife, it's not as an everyday carry knife. This is 100% a self-defense knife. Not a knife I would pull out to cut an apple. This is a knife I would pull out to cut a bad guy.
Yeah.
I'd probably agree with the 7. It is very comfortable, and that button, honestly, is what makes it for me. As far as ergos, because that actually contributes to the ergonomics, believe it or not. It has some little grippy textures on it, which you guys will see in the B-roll. But once you activate this knife, like, it almost acts like, I don't know, like keeps
almost a guard. It almost is. Yeah.
So 7 for me as well.
Yeah.
Now the next rank is the tactical portion.
Yeah. And it's weird, because it's kind of like I almost don't want to do it to where we say tactical for an OTF, because everybody thinks of OTF as sheerly tactical.
But people might not. I mean, they might be, running around with a Microtech just because they like an OTF.
What makes a knife tactical, right? Length, first and foremost. It has to be dead
blade
lead,
shape,
right? It has to be over 3.5 inches. It's got that. Its ability to penetrate. It has that Bowie style blade.
Sure.
It's nasty. Going through,
and it's a very narrow Bowie style blade.
Yeah, it has a good.
I mean, that's a needle.
It comes down to a really nice point. Yeah, it's going through whatever you push it into. I would say, from a tactical standpoint, due to the way it works and how fast the deployment can be, it's probably going to be a 9 out of 10 for me. Just because I really reserve 10 out of 10 for faster deployment. There actually are, and we'll discuss those in later videos, there's actually superior tactical, pure tactical knives out there.
Yeah.
And so 9 out of 10 for me, just because it's fully capable, it's reasonably fast to deploy, it comes with lanyard, so you have pinky pull. You're going to have a lot of confidence pulling that blade out, and it will do the job without doubt.
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, you're really splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
But, speaking to the more tactical knives that Greg's mentioning, and comparing this to them, the only thing that this has on knives like that is the skull crusher. That's really it. So I'm going to go with 9.5 out of 10, just because. I mean, you really don't get
kind of the non-lethal aspect.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get any better than this. So you could literally use this aggressively attack somebody.
Yes, aggressively defend your life.
Yeah, but 9.5. You said 9.
Yep, absolutely. So, and then we get into EDC tasks. This is not an EDC knife. An EDC knife has a completely different purpose. This is intimidating. This is really expensive. Yeah. This is going to hurt your feelings when you dull it.
Yeah.
And I've
you wouldn't hand this to somebody to help them cut open a box.
Right. This has got my edge on it. The edge from the factory comes plenty sharp enough for the average person. But for me, you know, I like an edge with a taller bevel to it, because then I can come back later after it does get dull, and I can easily bring back that edge, maybe with just leather. And a factory edge is hard to bring back with leather because they put that microscopic edge, which is not an EDC edge. Once again, this is a tactical knife that's not really from the factory. I'm using this to open boxes and all this stuff, right? So for me, I like to mix it up a little bit.
Something I want to throw out there, and I don't want to cut you off, but we're going to back up just a second to the Ergos that I want to point out, because it just picked up this Ultratech. And when you open this Ultratech, this button on here is a little bit aggressive, right? Like it bites into your thumb a little bit, which doesn't bother me, but comparing it to that really speaks to the Ergos of that knife.
That's true.
It's a very comfortable.
Superior. It is much more comfortable because it's softer, because G10 has a soft, warm feel to
right.
it. Yeah. So,
anyways,
EDC, 5 out of 10. It's not an EDC knife. You can use it for that task. It does not come with an EDC edge. It comes with a tactical edge, which is designed to be laser sharp and precise, but not a durable.
It's a fast
edge.
knife.
It's a fast knife. That's the whole purpose. So, yeah, there you go. 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it's big, which is good for tactical, but not EDC.
I'm actually going to go with 5's a solid number, but I want to be different. I'm going to say 6 out of 10. And the only reason I'm saying that...
There's a good reason for that, of me versus him on that.
The only reason I'm saying that is because, I mean, EDC, when you talk about a standard EDC knife, that's a knife that you can use for multi-purpose. But this is something that you would carry every day as a tactical knife. Also, the only thing on here that would really lessen the score to make it less EDC is if it had a dagger type blade. But because it has that bowie blade, that's still a decent slicer. So, you know, it adds to the score for me, and that pocket clip really helps as well. No
doubt about it. Yeah, I think also when you consider the environments that we're in, he being, you know, freelance and me having a corporate job, you know, I'm never going to whip this out to open a box, right? Whereas he could actually do EDC tasks with it, although it wouldn't be his primary EDC task. More than likely, he's going to have more than one as well as himself. So, yeah, and that takes us into cool factor.
Tactical.
Yeah, tactical, right? I wish there were more knives on tactical for Instagram.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's mostly women carrying guns, jumping over things. So, yeah, that's kind of, your hopes and dreams. That's kind of what tactical is about. I think this is tactical. The cool factor is 10 out of 10. Can I do 12, 15 out of 20 out of 10?
I would say it's
this is there. They don't get any cooler than this. I mean, you can go into some of the Medford worlds and some of the pimping.
Marfion Customs.
Yeah, Marfion Customs, and get something. And that's a different kind of cool factor. That's almost unattainable cool.
Right.
At least with this.
That's no matter, supercar cool.
Yeah, hypercar cool. Yeah, hypercar, this is supercar, right? This is a Ferrari. And the Marfion is like a Bugatti, right? Yeah. And it's almost uncool. This is
you would never carry it. I mean, you just keep it in a case, right?
Yeah. And so with this right here, no matter what crowd you're in, this is cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're around with a bunch of guys, I know some of my old Army buddies, like if we would have pulled that out, like everybody would want to fire it. Yeah. Like it's just like, oh man, let me see that. Yeah. And then you have to question, like, I don't know if you should hold this knife or not. I don't know if I trust you to hold it. But yeah, definitely 10.
Yeah, good.
So I mean, this knife ranks really high overall.
It should. Frankly, the execution on this knife should be as such. Its purpose will limit its overall ranking, you know, because quite frankly, it's hard. It's almost impossible to have the perfect EDC, perfect tactical, perfect non-intimidation. Right. Everybody is different, and everybody's going to have different scores. There is no perfect knife, and that's part of the disease of this particular of the EDC life, of the knife life. The knife life is the limiting factor here.
So what would the overall score be? So we went down, both gave it a 7 on Ergos. Tactical, let's see, you gave it a 8, you gave it a 9, right? 9, I gave it a 9.5. EDC 5 and 6. So what's that leave us with, an 8?
Yeah, probably
overall?
so. I would probably put it in that category. You know, it's really expensive. It's a grail, so you know, it's not something that's easily attainable. You're not going to be comfortable.
Right. They're hard to find.
Some of the EDC, right? It's not a quality thing. It's an overall. It's going to be probably an 8 out of 10 overall. And would I own it? You better believe it. I do own it. This is my knife. So
it is an expensive knife, and a lot of these knives, I mean, that's the game we're in, right? Like, and we'll do a series where we talk about budget knives. This is not a budget knife. This is a grail knife, like Greg said. This is a knife you save up for.
Yeah.
It's definitely a really cool knife. It's a highlight of your collection, and one that, you know, again, you might second guess carrying this out on lake. You would hate to lose that in the water.
Yeah. So, and that takes us to a little bit about, you know, following us on Instagram, and checking us out at the Clip Point. Josh, once again, now that he, you know, is kind of putting more of his energy and investment into this project, we expect to see it grow. We've actually got a store with some cool themes and some hashtag stuff
we'll link it below.
We've designed. But if you're about that knife life, we have some cool knife life stuff there. So we'll link it below, reasonably priced. And yeah, we just love the community, want to be part of it, and that's really what we are all about.
I want to be honest, because I feel like a lot of times you've got this line you have to walk, you know, in this community. There's a lot of knife companies, and we just want to give you a straight up review of what we think.
Yeah,
we both come from different sides. We bring different perspectives to these knives, and we buy them for different reasons. And so it kind of gives you guys kind of a, you know, neutral slate.
Yeah, and we're gonna stay independent. That's the goal. So all the support you guys give us helps us to further that agenda. You know, I think that, you know, we're working on a partnership with Smoky Mountain Knife Works. You know, but the nice thing is, and one of the things that they like about this partnership is we get to do things that they can't do, right? And so it's not a limiting thing. So for them, it's like, hey, you guys can review and talk about stuff we can't even review and talk about, right? Because of some of their relationships. That's just limiting factors when you're a huge business like they are. But you'll see some cool stuff coming down the pipe from that relationship. Really excited about that. Probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, online knife retailer. And they're just a few hours away from where we live in the Nashville area. So yeah, I'm excited about that. You'll see more stuff, but it'll give us some great opportunity to review and talk about things that I think you're not going to see anywhere else, quite frankly.
I'm excited, and I think you know, officially with this video, we're on the road to Blade Show. We want to be at Blade Show in 2022. So you know.
Yep. So check us out. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you click like, subscribe, and comment below, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Stay sharp.
Thanks.